shows where no one knows you're going to be there. It's good to do shows with small amounts of people.
Yeah.
You got to think about it like training. Like if you were a fighter, like you don't just box. You have to do jujitsu. You have to wrestle. You have to go to the strength and conditioning gym. And if you don't do those things, you won't get as good as if you did those things. Like you could be a successful fighter and just work on takedown defense and punching. And you maybe get pretty far with that. But you won't get as far as a guy who learns jujitsu and a guy who has amazing cardio. You need more weapons in your toolbox.
And a guy who failed.
Yes.
Like we just saw.
Yes.
With Poirier.
Yes.
Wasn't that cool?
It was very cool. But that was an unfortunate ending.
Oh, that stunk.
Because apparently that was an existing injury. He had that ankle scanned. He had probably kicked someone really hard in training and created a stress fracture. And John Wayne Parr and then Eric Nixick from Extreme Couture, who's one of the top coaches in Vegas, they both put videos up on their Instagram. And when John Wayne Parr noticed that his leg was starting to buckle in a weird way after he threw one leg kick, kicked him in the thigh, because he apparently had a cracked shin going in there. And it was, it was of concern enough that they went to the doctor and got it scanned.
Yeah.
So when you see him throw a kick, there's one where he hits the elbow,
when
and then
blocks it.
Goes back to sit down, and his leg just gives out on him totally. That leg was already broken.
Yeah,
he's probably kicking him with a broken leg, and that's what you have to realize. That's what kind of a savage Conor McGregor is. He was kicking him with a broken leg,
man,
because he's a left-hander, right? So his left side is the power side. So his left kick's his big kick, and that was the kick that he was throwing, even though he had a broken shin. Pretty wild.
That fucking, I mean, it's insane. It's truly insane.
He's wild.
That video we were watching of him driving around in a scooter, dude, he's so funny.
Respect.
He's so funny.
Nothing but respect for that guy. And people are like, I did not enjoy the way people who are not MMA experts were talking about the conclusion of that fight. And they were saying that Conor is old, Conor's done, he doesn't have the anger anymore, or the drive to become a champion anymore. Horse shit. You people don't know anything about MMA. Let me tell you what happened. You got a guy who went out there, guns blazing, to give it his all with a pre-existing injury, and he got beat by a better man. He got beat by a guy who might have beat him anyway, but took him down, has a superior ground game. Dustin beat him up, and here's the thing that I was saying going into that fight. Historically, and this is never an indication of like what can happen in the future, because people can improve, they get better, but historically, Conor's really dangerous in the beginning of a fight. He's not as dangerous as the fight goes on. Dustin Poirier is dangerous for all 5 rounds.
I'm going to show you real live proof of how you can start raking in $1,000 a day.
And that's a big factor. He relishes these combat, trench warfare type fights where like you're 5 rounds in with Dan Hooker and he'll win it in the 5th round. Like that's who Dustin Poirier is. And he's had these 5-round wars with like Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje. Like he's had savage fights and gone into the trenches. So he's like real confident he can get through those trenches and be victorious. So the problem with the fight is not just that Conor broke his leg. The problem was that Dustin dominated the first round. When Dustin, and he...
That was...
If he dominates the first round, he's likely the favorite to win the second round. And then he's even more of a favorite to win the third round. And this is just based on historical moments in fights, what Conor has done and what Dustin has done. I knew that guy was special in 2013. I was watching him fight in England. I reached out to him on Twitter. Like we had a little Twitter back and forth in 2013. I said, I hope to be calling your fights one day in the UFC.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's documented somewhere. Him and I going back and forth together. Because I saw him fight online. I was like, this kid he's moving in a very special way.
Actually, you know what? There's a good example of, like, you know how I was talking about earlier about, like, when you see someone say something fucked up and your instant reaction is just like, fuck them.
Right.
His post-fight interview, where that whole thing, it's like, bro, he just shattered his leg.
Right. Lost a big
would you be
rubber
saying?
Match.
I would be scream crying.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you motherfucker, you fucking like,
The amount of pain he was in right then too
oh,
must have
and
been.
he was like animalistically angry. You could see him like,
Yeah.
I mean,
And people are like, why'd you interview him? He actually brought me over. He goes, come on over here, let's have a
oh, he
podcast.
didn't fucking break my fucking leg.
He said, like, let's come on, Joe, let's have a fucking podcast. He asked me to sit down next to him. Like, I was like, how am I going to do this? I feel like I should just get something out of him.
No, it was good.
Because I knew, even if you recognize the fact that he's emotionally charged up like that, this is just him expressing himself while he was emotionally charged up.
And it was
Look at
truly.
that. It says, me and Rogan framed this in the studio. By the way, Connor, I'm framing this in the studio.
Bro.
Dakota Meyer, our friend from the podcast and Great American Hero, is actually, he's got a company that does that.
Look at that fucking face.
We're framing that. That's going to be in the studio.
What an animal.
There you go, Connor.
What a
As
beast.
soon as he said that, I'm like, of course I'm going to frame that.
But he,
Hey, take that scooter down here, Connor.
oh,
Come
dude.
on, man. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. Come, let's do a podcast, Connor. He's a special person. You know, it's like it takes a special person to even want to fight the way he's fighting with $500 million in the bank. He's probably literally like the richest guy that ever really wanted to fight hard.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, even Floyd Mayweather, as rich as he is, and he's one of the all-time greats, if not the greatest boxer of all time, he's fighting people that have zero chance of beating him.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's smart. Because, he's like, I'm just going to make a lot of money here. Conor is fighting Dustin Poirier.
What was
He's fighting Cowboy Cerrone. He's fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov while he's worth hundreds of millions
how
of dollars.
terrifying is that guy's responses to these things?
He's my favorite response
it is
ever.
the scariest. There's nothing like when Conor was like, I only count knockouts in my record. And then you just see like a reply from Khabib that's like, I take people into deep waters and they discover themselves. It's like, dude, what the fuck is this guy talking about? What's scarier than a white Muslim just talking shit, dude?
I take people into deep waters and they discover themselves.
It's
That should
terrifying.
be the name of his book.
Dude,
That should be the title of his
his
book.
social media. Khabib, he'll just today he posted a picture of like him with a bunch of figs. Or fucking, it's like, dude, this is the scariest guy on earth. Dude.
He's amazing. Look at him. He's getting, what is that?
Dates.
What does it say?
Dates.
There's not even, all the way from Dubai to USA. Thank you so much, brother.
These are my
These are my favorite
dates.
These are my favorite dates. Bro, he smashed everybody. There's never been a guy like him. That guy made it to undefeated as a world champion, and the last guy he beat was what many people thought would be his most dangerous challenge, and he almost had him in the first round. He got him in the second round.
Ugh.
He's the greatest of all time.
That wasn't even close.
No,
Poirier came close.
Poirier came close. Poirier almost got him in a guillotine. He almost got him in a guillotine.
Yeah.
It was just like a few adjustments, and maybe if he was less tired. You never know. Like, a human's a human, but
Yeah, but